Hello, I'm Alan Nafsker from Matagorda, Texas, amateur photographer. Thanks for visiting my site, f64.today. My goal and I guess my dream is to find as many exact locations where Ansel Adams made his iconic photos. I think it would take me the rest of my life and half of another life to find them all, but I want to get started. Uh, Not to imitate his photos, but to communicate exactly how difficult they were to create. I think it's not going to be easy. I heard Nick Carver mention the other day that he didn't know if he started a new photography channel on YouTube if it would take off. But I want to try to do that. Going to start today with a new channel on YouTube. And it's not that I want to so much redo Ansel Adams' work, but I want to revisit the sites, stand where he stood, and walk a mile or two in his shoes. Of course, there's more than enough travel involved, but I want to do that. Rock and roll bands from the 80s have tribute bands, and there are thousands of Elvis impersonators. I don't know why I can't retrace Ansel Adams' footsteps and take a few photos. I want to call the channel, this new channel, Ansel Adams Shoes, or maybe Ansel Adams Tribute Trek. But I want to walk the same paths with a GoPro and recreate as many of the photos as I can. That recreate thing, I don't think anybody's ever going to recreate Ansel Adams' talent with film, but take a cheap digital photo and put it up beside his work. And I think it would be a little bit educational. I'll get into that in a second. So why? I guess there's three reasons. One, to draw attention to Ansel Adams' photography. I think he's the most famous and recognizable photographer in the history of the art or technology, however you want to look at it. I want to educate the new digital generations. I guess I want to take both photos, a digital photo and then show his original black and white film photo. Of course, people would compare the photos, and God, hopefully his film version would win in most people's minds. But just so they could compare and contrast the two technologies. They may not be familiar with film. People that watch these videos that I plan to make. Hopefully the whole series would persuade more photographers to move into film. Partly number two, the second reason, and it's to pay homage to the geography, the outdoors, and the parks. I want to talk about the trails and the state of the environment in these particular locations. Taking a modern photo from as close as possible to the original location and showing it to people would bring to light the changes. Of course, the trees and perhaps even the geographic features have changed. I think people would be curious not only to compare the photographs but also the terrains. He worked in I guess from the 1920s to for the 1980s. So that was quite a while back. I want to take the picture of the same geography 60 years later, so people can see how it changed. I want to go to his San Francisco childhood home, his home in Carmel, California, and as many of the locations where he actually took the photos, as many as I possibly can. Then put the videos on YouTube. Ansel Adams' influence over me. I'm not sure who taught me who Ansel Adams was, whether it was books or a library or maybe a PBS documentary. I don't. I remember I had a very good high school yearbook and journalism teacher who I had a camera since I probably way too early. I remember my grandmother gave me a Brownie 120. So from a very young age, I knew, but I wasn't taught photography until I was in high school. Her name was Ms. Hutchison, and journalism, school newspaper, yearbook. But we took our own black and white photos and developed them in a dark room there at the high school, and that's where I learned. I don't know if she taught me who Ansel Adams was. I remember she taught a lot, and I remember the chemistry. I wasn't so thrilled about chemistry, but when I got in that dark room, boy, that was fascinating to take pictures and then watch them come to life. It kept me interested. Now, I was a political scientist and taught at a college for 37 years. And so I'm not a professional photographer, but that love of the black and white film process stuck with me for a long time, till today even. So I guess those are the three reasons. Ansel Adams photography, number two, the geography, and number three, Ansel Adams influence, and black and white film technology influence over me when I was growing up. So I want to do a number of photo things. Number one, I want to hike and share the videos that show the distance and the effort involved, the terrain, how he got to certain locations. I mean, I want to go to the place where he set the tripod down, see if I can't find that, and reproduce it in YouTube videos. Number two, I want to show people the alternatives that he had. I mean, he didn't have to photograph what we're familiar with. He could have panned a little bit to the left or to the right, or stopped somewhere before he got to his subject. So if I can find, I don't know if it's even possible. You find where he parked his car and what path he took to get to the locations. I want to do that and film it and film everything along the way to show what he passed up. Now, it's educational in the sense that people and young people, young developing photographers, need to know, have good sense about what to photograph. I want to make panos and maybe 360s of the locations if I'm able to reach them. Basically, what I want to do is show Ansel Adams' choice of subjects. I want to use the zone system as much as I can at each location without all the modern lighting, metering, computers. Also possible, I want to find an antique light meter, one similar or exactly the same model that Mr. Adams used and play with that. So, well, so people know the process that he used to make these photos. Uh, I want to put a camera on Ansel Adams' subject and do some time-lapse photography. Now that's a metaphor. The geography, but also the original photos, withstand the test of time. So I was thinking making an extended metaphor, and in each video uh, making a time-lapse of the same subjects: waterfalls, mountains, rivers, same things that he photographed. Uh, I want to do a couple of philosophical things. I want to put as much biographical and historical information about him in the videos. I want as many quotes and statements of philosophy from Mr. Adams in the video. And maybe extend some of his influence into today's world. I mean, he has the photos that we have the photos that he took, but do we have his philosophy? And of course, he gave interviews and talked to people constantly about photography, and there's a little bit of philosophy. I mean, he was a thinker, a smart, intelligent man. You can tell his mind was always racing. So I want to, if I can, show that. I want to help reestablish the legitimacy of film photography. So many of these young people, they didn't get it in high school like I did, maybe like we did, and they're not familiar with it. Maybe I can bring this back. I'm sure they'll call me a dinosaur, but the modern digital technology simply make photos too sharp, and many of them look unrealistic. Also want to, I have a paradigm, a way of thinking about the world, and I believe it's not too different from Ansel Adams' philosophy and way of thinking the world. I know he said, I believe in beauty, I believe in stones, water, air, soil, people, and their future and their fate. So I guess that falls into the category of philosophy. So I would like to spread a little bit of Ansel Adams' ideas, which I happen to share. I'm sure you share a lot of those ideas as a photographer, professional or amateur. Okay, there's obstacles. This is not going to be easy. First of all, this project can be misunderstood. I'm sure some negative people will say, oh, he's piggybacking on Ansel Adams' grand reputation. I have to tell you, I'm a trained academic with a PhD from a prestigious European university. I can't tell you how many lectures I listened to on the need for original thought. And this work, for me, was just a grand exercise against plagiarism. So I'm fully aware that people will be negative about me going to where Ansel Adams was and taking similar pictures. But I think because I'm planning on using digital to compare with his work, it would show people educational compare and contrast. There's another obstacle: fuel prices, travel and logistics, and the expense. Of course, if the project takes off, the YouTube might pay for a lot of the revenue from YouTube might pay for a lot of the material. Things that I need to do this: hotel rooms, food, and probably most expensive is going to be the fuel to to get to all these locations. Of course, I'm 60 years old. That could be a obstacle. I'm actually looking for a younger person, probably more physically fit, partner who would might be able to finish a trek if there's a long hike out to a location and video it, photograph it. If I'm not able, I'll certainly send me an email and I will certainly get back with you if you want to share a ride to some of these locations. Your thoughts. I haven't started. This is just the first video, hopefully in a series, and I'm just laying it out so people can give me the pros and cons, or email me, don't bother, or hey, this is a great idea. People who have photo channels on YouTube or on other platforms, maybe you would want to mention this website, f64.today, and you might want to tag along and film your own video, photography video. I'm going to try to make as many of these locations as I can, as much as I'm able. Ansel Adams was a genius about monetizing and finding sponsors. And maybe you would like to contribute or find a corporate sponsor. But the best way you can help me get this effort started is by subscribing to this YouTube channel. Later on, I'm going to fix it up so you can donate and buy a gallon of gasoline for me. Or and I'm also going to set up a way where you can subscribe financially and buy a gallon of gas every month until I'm done. Okay, just to recap, so everybody's clear. I want to go to Ansel Adams' home, his childhood home, his home in Carmel, California, and to as many exact locations where he practiced his photography. Not in imitation or mockery, but just so people can be entertained by the geography. And well, it would be very expensive for everyone in the country to go to all these locations. So that's the beauty of the internet and videography. I want to take a camera there so you can see where Ansel Adams made the shot. And included in that, I'm going to try to show how it was made and maybe point out some of the obstacles that he faced in each of the photos. Okay, I'm Alan Nasker. I live in Matagorda, Texas, and I'm traveling the West. Is going to start as soon as possible. Thanks a lot. Subscribe and hit the like button, and maybe we can get this channel monetized so I can afford to go to all of these locations. Thanks a lot. I appreciate your time.